Alrighty, welcome back everybody. If you're new here, my name is Matt, and this is the Eart GW2 upgrade video. Now, as you can see, I am quickly ripping this thing apart, and the reason for that is because we are going to be upgrading the electronics in it. In my most recent video, I received this guitar, and we did an unboxing, as well as a specifications overview, followed up by some sound tests, and then my overall opinion on it, what I liked, what I didn't like. And the video is basically 18 minutes of me just gaggling over how great of a guitar this is. The stainless steel frets on this thing play better than guitars, well over $1,000. I have, a Kiesel that I would say the frets are on par with. The one thing I didn't quite like about this guitar was the sound of the pickups. However, I will say I did read the comments on the last video, and a lot of you pointed out that my problems could have been solved by potentially lowering the pickups to get more clarity, as well as potentially removing the actual pickup covers to get some more clarity as well. Because if you think about it, the covers are basically a barrier between the actual magnets of the pickup and the strings themselves. But I did have some humbuckers laying around from another project I was working on that never really came to fruition. One is a DiMarzio Titan for the bridge, and then I also have a bare knuckle Cold Sweat for the neck. And these hopefully are going to work great because I love playing with a split coil tone. So feel free to sit back and watch. I didn't want to make this a super long video, so I've compiled some very quickly paced clips of me taking it apart and putting it back together. And at the end, we'll get a quick sound test of how it looks and plays now. So I did have to completely disassemble this guitar, and that includes removing the neck, as you can see here. And the reason for that is because I was going to make a sketch of the body. And the reason I was making a sketch was to make my own pickguard. As you can see here, I took 4 pieces of printer paper and basically taped them together, but it worked out really well. Now, you're probably thinking maybe a CAD software or, 3D print to a CNC machine would be great. And I agree with you. And although I am sufficient in CAD design, I have spent a lot of time in Blender doing 3D rendering and 3D modeling. I would be able to come up with a great shape. I just do not have access to a CNC machine. Although I think it's something that I might look into in the future. So my next best thing was doing it the old-fashioned way, and it's basically stenciling out the shape of the guitar, as you can see here. And the plan is to basically cut out the shape and then sketch from there, a mock-up of what I think would look cool for the pickguard shape. So after I was happy with the sketch, I took some scissors and began cutting the outline of the body of the guitar. And this is sped up, I think 16 times as fast as normal speed. And essentially what I'm saying is I had to be very careful with cutting the outline correctly. And there were parts that I didn't quite stencil as well as I had hoped, but I was happy with how it came out. Then I just had to cut out the humbucker slots, as you can see here. And in my opinion, the stencil came out great. I'm really happy with the shape and the accuracy of the sketch. And to get some of the finer holes, I ended up taking a very sharp razor blade and very carefully cut along in strips, and then eventually the overall circles of the holes. And I'm happy I did it this way. I think if I used scissors, I probably would have botched the sketch and ruined all my hard work. So this is how it came out. I think it looks pretty good. One thing I was worried about too was potentially screwing up the stencil that I created. So I just sketched really quickly a second copy of it, just as a failsafe if I really screwed it up. So here I was looking at a picture of a Strandberg Bowden. Now there's not a lot of models with pickguards, but there was like a humbucker single model that I really liked the shape of the pickguard. Now I didn't want to do it one for one and perfectly copy and rip off a Strandberg pickguard. So I took some pointers of the curvature and where to line with the body, and kind of just did a free-form sketch on what I thought looked cool but also unique at the same time. So once I was happy with that, I went back to my razor blade and very carefully cut the outline of the pickguard. This as well as probably 16 times speed. So you can see how slow I actually was going. And shout out to my cup of coffee that was keeping me going and awake. I believe it was probably like 2 in the morning when I was doing this. You know, when inspiration strikes, you gotta answer the call of duty, I suppose. So somehow I didn't screw it up, and this was the final result. I think it came out great. It's not perfect, but I think it's a great start. Next was basically taping the outline to the actual pickguard base and something that a router could basically eat into. So the next step was to actually route it out. And here I am with a router in my hands, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I have no business having a router in my hands. If the last clip of me and my giant mug of coffee is any indication as to how caffeinated I am, me and precision usually don't go together. I'm probably about as stable with my hands as a newborn calf trying to walk. But somehow I didn't botch it. I was lucky, even though it was jagged. I was able to take some sandpaper and do a lot of sanding at that. But I was pleased with the result. It wasn't perfect, as you can see the edges are a bit jagged and crooked, but I think it's a great rough draft. So unfortunately, the video of me installing the actual pickups got corrupted, but it went seamlessly. I think it looks great, and this is the final result. This is where the upgrade portion of the guitar ends, and I start doing some more sound demos. If you want to stop watching here and just wanted to check out the upgrade part, thank you so much for watching. But if you want to keep going, you can see me basically just messing around and playing a couple different riffs.